It's October! If you do not know me, my name is Ashley, and if you do know me, welcome back. It's been a minute. I figured why not come on and present to you a video on my favorite month, one of my favorite months of the year, October. It is currently October 1st as I am filming this, so it will probably, hopefully be up the same day, if not probably a day or two after. But I wanted to share a little bit of life updates in this video, as well as the horror books I'll be reading this month and some other things to come. So let's just get right into it. I'm just stuttering at this point, but I'm just excited to be back. So in regards to life updates, I have moved. If you do already notice, this is very different than my other apartment that I had a couple of years ago. I moved last November, and so it's almost been a year at this point I've been living here. And I also move this. We got a puppy boy here. He's sleeping right now. He's not feeling the best. His allergies are acting up, so we had to give him some little medication. But I got him I got him before I moved, like a couple months before I moved. And so it's been basically a year at this point, but we're about to be in our second year. He is the best boy ever, but enough about him for now. I have been also working at a new job that is now, I'm starting to get a little bit more settled in. It was a little crazy last year, and it will continue to be crazy, but I find that this may be the best time for me to actually start doing this. I'm starting to really prioritize again my wants and needs in regards to my hobbies and interests, and one of them being is reading. So I've been working really hard, especially since the end of the school year last year, that I want reading for fun to be one of my top priorities, as well as writing. If you do not know, I am an aspiring writer. I am currently working on a few novels, but one has really gotten really far, and I'm really happy with where it's going. And I'm currently getting critiques with some of my writer buddies, and so that one is currently in the works. And really, I just wanted this platform to be just to share with you guys what I've been reading, and whenever my stuff comes out, I can share it with you guys here. But also just the life of me and my dog. If you don't know, my dog's name is Juniper also. So yeah, aside from that, I wanted to share with you why I love October so much. October is, if you do not know me, I am a big fan of scary movies and thrillers, and I never actually got into it when I was writing horror. So I made a mess up. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I didn't mean to correct myself, but yeah, I haven't read a lot of horror just because I didn't really get into horror until maybe middle school, late middle school into high school. And so I just never bothered picking up to read. I have mainly grew up reading contemporary romances. I think in high school I started dabbling into supernatural, but I really think that as I grew into an adult, I have watched a crap ton of fantasy. I am obsessed with it. My father read to me and my brother Lord of the Rings when we were kids, the Long Chunky and the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. And so I grew up on fantasy, but I never really, I think sci-fi was the farthest I would go when I was younger. And so now, being a full-fledged adult, I find myself leaning a lot. Don't get me wrong, I still read a contemporary romance here and there, but I find myself really enjoying fantasy, fantasy romances, romantasy even, and I'm starting to dive more into just strictly fantasy, with maybe some romance in there, but it's really focused on the fantasy. So some of the books you may see me review in the future may cover some of those. But with October, as I shared, I watch a lot of scary movies. I can name a few off of my head that I have thoroughly enjoyed. Hereditary being one, Midsommar, if you know that one. Some other, like, I am into K-drama, so I watched this one, I believe, called The Exorcist. That's a K-drama TV show. That was really good. I even watched it a second time this past year just because I remembered how thrilling it was. But I do have a thing for cultish movies. I do have a thing for supernatural and Saws, and I always, basically the bottom line is that I've always watched it. And a part of me as an aspiring writer wanted to actually write horror, but in my mind I couldn't imagine a horror book being scary. And so I was curious to know how someone would write horror, and how would I feel reading a horror book and seeing if it's the same chill factor as if I was watching a show with music and the jump scares and stuff like that. And so I started this journey 2 years ago, and I decided that every October I was going to read as many horror books as I could. And so I'm going to share the books I'm reading this October, but I do want to share the books that I have previously read. I'm not going to share the review in this video just because I want to save it for when I read the other books, so I can have this big whole video on reviewing the horror books that I've read. But I will share with you guys what I've read. So my very first October, which was 2 years ago, I stumbled across this cute little eclectic bookstore, and I found this book here. This book called White Smoke. It was very enticing to me because, first and foremost, it was that moment 2 years ago I realized I never read a book about a Black woman. I know that's crazy, but it's like I've always just read books of just like racially ambiguous people or just straight up white, and so to find a book where the cover had this beautiful, gorgeous Black woman on it, and I was like, ooh, a horror book that has this. And the cover, look at the cover, it is so beautiful. Actually, I kind of want to see what the naked, oh, it's plain purple, but yeah, it's plain purple except for like the binding. But I was very excited when I picked this up, and I basically read this for the whole month of October. I did not read any other book because, again, work got a hold of me, and this is one of the books I read. So again, this one will be reviewed in another video at the end of October to share my thoughts on all the horror books I've read so far. So that's one. Last October, I picked this up as well as two other books that I never actually got to read, so it will be in my TBR for this month. I'm about to sneeze. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Okay, so yeah. So the book that I ended up picking up, that was a very quick read, if I may add. Like, I finished this in like a week. Honestly, I think like 3 days. I think because I was preoccupied, I probably could have finished it sooner if I wanted to, but I ended up picking up Horror Store. One of the Barnes & Noble's people recommended this one to me. It was very cute because I love IKEA. I love the vibe of IKEA, and this gave me IKEA vibes, and he sold me when he was talking about how in the book it has like things you would see in an IKEA magazine. So like this portion here, like instructions, available positions, it has actual furniture in the book, and they refer to it a lot. So, but it does get creepier as time goes on, and some of the furniture becomes a little bit more sadistic as the plot goes on. But yes, I enjoyed it. So I will share more details about this book again in another video. but I read Horror-Store. So now the other two books that I picked up that year that I just never got to, someone highly recommended this book to me. It is called Final Girl Support Group. I heard it was really good. I was just, this guy also sold me on it, but I was really hesitant because I didn't necessarily, it felt very cheesy to me in the sense of, I didn't want a comedy horror, I want horror. And recently this year when I went to the bookstore, I ran into two women who recommended this book to me again, and I told them like, this book was an easy read, and they were like, that you're definitely gonna like this one. And so they sold me on it. The guy back then, when it first came out, sold me on it, and and they actually recommended everything from Grady Hendrix. So if I do end up liking this author, I will consider going down the rabbit hole that is Grady Hendrix, but we shall see. But yes, so just to give you a concept as to what this book's about, the little thing at the top says this: in horror movies, the final girls are the ones left standing when the credits roll. They made it through the worst night of their lives, but what happens after? And so as someone who's watched a lot of horror movies, I very much well know a lot of the final girls they're referring to in these horror movies. And so it's going to be interesting to kind of hear what their thoughts on after they survive their specific horror movie. So this one will be the second book that I read for October this month. But yes, let's see how this goes. Another book that I ended up picking up that same year was, this one was honestly a I just saw it and I was like, that looks scary as heck. I'm gonna pick that up. And when I read it, I was like, actually, this is pretty interesting concept. I'm gonna read it, but it's going to be Ghost Eaters. And you can tell by the cover. The cover is spooky as heck. And I just, when I read the cover, I was like, this is something that I might read actually. So it says, pop a pill, see the dead, side effects may occur. And basically it says that Erin hasn't been able to set a single boundary with her charismatic but reckless college ex-boyfriend, Silas. When he asked her to bail him out of rehab again, she knows she needs to cut him off. But days after he gets out, Silas turns up dead of an overdose in their hometown of Richmond, Virginia, and Erin's world falls apart. So then a friend tells her about ghosts, the new drug that allows users to see the dead. Want to get haunted, he asks, grieving and desperate for closure with Silas. Erin agrees to a pill-popping seance. And I you can kind of guess from there, kind of the gist. Like I said, this is very much something that I would actually enjoy watching as a horror movie, but wearing as a book. So this will be also in the TBR for this month. And this is Ghost Eaters by Clay McLeod Chapman. There you go. And the last book that I have here that is part of the horror genre, that is actually the first book I'm going to be reading for October, was recommended to me by the women that I was referring to that recommended this book, the Final Girl Support Group. She told me about this book that was very bone chilling for her, and I wholeheartedly just decided to be like, you know what, I'm gonna trust you, because the way that they were talking in the horror section was very much like, oh, I've been in a bookstore before. Like, they were flight attendants, but like back when she was younger, she used to work in a bookstore, and she got her friend into horror, and so she is very much a horror enthusiast. And so I picked up this book, and per her recommendation, it's called The Between. I do not want to mispronounce this person's name, so I'm just gonna put it right here. But this author, it says it has a pronunciation thing here. Tananarive is an award-winning author who teaches Black horror and Afrofuturism. I can speak today, at UCLA. So she's an executive producer on the Shudder's groundbreaking documentary documentary horror noir, a history of Black horror. And so her books include Ghost Summer Stories, My Soul to Keep, The Good House. She and her late mother, civil rights activist Patricia Stevens Dew co-authored Freedom in the Family, a mother-daughter memoir of the fight of civil rights. She is married to author Stephen Barnes, whom she collaborates on screenplays. They live with their son, Jason. And so with that being said, I'm like, this is going to be very interesting because being that she teaches Black horror and Afrofuturism, I'm very curious to see how this will play out. But I'm going to read the synopsis for you guys. So, when Hilton was a boy, his grandmother sacrificed her life to save him from drowning. 30 years later, he begins to suspect that he was never meant to survive that accident and that dark forces are working to rectify that mistake. When Hilton's wife, the only elected African American judge in Dade County, Florida, begins to receive racist hate mail from a man she once prosecuted, Hilton becomes obsessed with protecting his family. The demons lurking outside are matched by his internal terrors, macabre nightmares, more intense and disturbing than any he has ever experienced. Are these bizarre dreams the dark imaginings of a man losing his hold on sanity, or are they harbingers of terrible events to come? As Hilton battles both the sociopath threatening to destroy his family and the even more terrifying enemy stalking his sleep, the line between reality and fantasy dissolves. Chilling and utterly convincing, The Between is a haunting story of a man desperately trying to hold on to the people and life he loves as he slowly loses himself. And so, I think this is going to be the first one for sure. And so, it's a very short read. I could probably finish this in less than a day if I wanted to, but hence the reason why I got this book coming up next, right shortly after. So, but this is all that I have to share for today. Like I said, once October ends, I will be reviewing the books that I have read. If I, for somehow, some way, some miracle, end up finishing all three, where's the other one? Oh, there it is. Finish all three of these before October comes, I will be picking up more. If I happen to be in Barnes & Nobles and I just pick up another scary book, then so be it. I will also be sharing another video on the fantasy romance books I have read recently and give my reviews on those. Some of them being Fourth Wing, and I just finished Divine Rivals as of yesterday, so that's just 2 that I'll be sharing. There are, I think, 2 more that I have finished already that I want to share, but like I said, there'll be another video. I am so excited to share these books with y'all and really just enjoy the journey. And I will see you later. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.